Hello. I'm Jessica Lu, and I have been working and living in Vietnam for the last 24 years.
Hi, thank Jessica for introducing me. So hi, good evening everyone. We hope that you had your favorite drink with you already. So my name is Nhung. I coming from AstraZeneca. So we hope now everybody can spell our company name. You know, in the past when we introduced us, I work for AstraZeneca. Even my family, they still cannot remember my company name. Yeah.
Thank you for having me on this chat. So my name is Jane Shadwell Lee, and I'm one of the doctors that work at Family Medical Practice. I've been here for almost 20 years. I'm an internal medicine doctor. I'm trained in the US. I'm board certified in internal medicine. And I also have some specialty in tropical medicine and dermatology.
Excellent. We will not be holding you accountable.
First question. What is most important things for company to decide how they are going to start the process of getting people back in? What are the factors that we need to consider?
Some company may want to restructure, their company and refocus their priorities. As they can see, every time there's a lockdown, the level of function is going to be different. So they might want to set up different levels of functioning. What is the essential and minimum group of people or function that you must have to maintain the business of your company? And what are things that can be done remotely or that could be put on the back burner if push came to shove and you're in a strict lockdown again? And we know that in terms of the pandemic, it's going to be, one step forward, two steps back. Sometimes you can do more, sometimes you can do less. So the company should try to have a plan for all of those scenarios. And that's part of the business continuity plan. It's called risk management. So that's something that you should start off by reconsidering. What do I need to do to make my company more survive better during this challenging time?
So what the model you want to run in the future is hybrid model, flexibility model, or return to the office to workplace model. For what you can have the investment, for example, in AstraZeneca. So we say that we need the human interaction in the new age of digital. That's why we invest in our iWork office, which help us to connect more with natural light, green tree, provide more flexibility space for our people to work. And we already invest a lot in digital. For example, we have our webcast room. We have a lot of, for example, the digital system like Zoom, MS, everything to support our employees when they work everywhere they want. That's why, yes. And even regarding the general task, when you work during the pandemic, you need to ensure the safety for the employee, the safety, health, and well-being. So we equip, for example, at AstraZeneca, any employee before you enter the office, you need to have the free IT test, and they will check your temperature to ensure that you are well before you enter the office. And sanitizer mask, we put everywhere, and we increase the frequency to clean the office to ensure the safety for our people. And definitely when you return to the office, you need to have a well return to workplace plan, including everything, including you need to comply with the guideline from the government. Even you need to have the health center in the office.
Health center in the office?
Yeah. Yes, that's the requirement. You need to have the health center in the office. Yes, you need to have the safe bedroom in case anything happens where our people will gather. Yeah, because I like the idea Jamie said that we need to have the BCP, the business continuity plan. We work on each scenario, what happened, where you will gather, what is the communication, what is the message, what is the instruction to our employees.
Is it more like a fire drill? Like if there's a fire, you get out and you go to a certain spot? So in this case,
similar like that.
If there is an F0 in the office, what are the protocols of leaving the office?
Yes. What if you're F0, F1, F2? What is the process? And even we provide the easy COVID healthcare book for our employees. Yes, so because a lot of information now in the internet, but when you get positive with F0, you get confused and you don't know where you start. That's why we provide the AC COVID healthcare book for our employee. We organize the virtual health talk with the doctor. We organize the virtual mental health for our employee to know how to take care of themselves and their family first. They need to ensure the safety and health for themselves and family before they enter the office. And after they return to office, how they still ensure the safety for the family.
Yeah, so I guess I want to just start at the beginning. The question is not how can I not catch the COVID virus, because you are going to catch it. You're going to go out on the street and out of 10 people you meet, 6 or 7 will have it. So you will come into the office and maybe somebody will have it. That's not the question. It's not how can I avoid catching it. The only question is when I catch it, how does my body respond and protect me from getting really, really sick? That's what we can all only hope for from you. There's no way to avoid it. You can't stay home, you go to office and make yourself in isolation. It doesn't work. You're going to be exposed and you're probably going to catch it. The only thing is, will you get really sick when you do, right? So if you start thinking from that, then you think, okay, so for anybody who goes into a closed space, you're going to have to ask them, are they double vaccinated? Are they covered, right? So because if they're double vaccinated, then they have a less risk, not zero, less risk of catching it, less risk of spreading, not zero, and less risk of getting sick and die from it. Right? So you go into a space, you will hope all of your colleagues, everybody who come in should be double vaccinated or show some level of protection from the protective antibody level, right? So when you go to your office, if somebody is less than 2 meters from you, okay, it's not ideal. And if you touch some surface that's a high touch surface, yeah, it's not ideal and you should wash your hands. But just to keep that in mind, there's no place that you are safe from the infection. You're going to catch it. And there are certain things that we do will prevent you from getting sick from it, like getting vaccine, like keeping 2 meters, like wearing a mask, like washing your hands, like maybe you need to get a booster at some point. So all of those things are the things that you need to be aware of. So it's true there. If your friends who don't believe in vaccination say, hey, come to a birthday party, none of us are vaccinated, well, maybe you should think twice.
Yeah.
That's interesting because we're assuming from the point of, sooner or later you'll catch it, right? Because the mindset in the people is, what can I do to avoid getting a virus? And you are saying that sooner or later you will be exposed to it. It's just a matter of having protocols and process in place to mitigate that risk of making things worse than it already is.
When you get positive, the first thing you need to call your local health center to keep them informed and receive the instruction first. And after that, you can test the representative and your line manager to keep update your status and next action. And we will align the next action for task employees. And so in that case, we will create a group. Because in AstraZeneca, even your COVID status is confidential data. It's your confidential health data is confidential. That's why we create the group, just the employee, the manager, and the C representative only. So we keep exchange the information, and the more important thing is that we still follow the instruction from the doctor. Yeah, that's the thing. But because but as I said, that I want to be the mental health, the spirit is more important. We keep employees to stay positive, stay healthy, and that's why we share a lot of information how you can do exercise at home, how you can keep use positive, and how you keep connected with the people, and how you live with the people around to support you. And that is more important because recently we had some treatment protocol, but before that it more depend on each person.
Have employees that have had COVID?
Yes, definitely. Any
Wow.
company, they face the same problem. That's why,
But
yeah.
Ms. Nguyen, do you allow any employee in the office if they are not double vaccinated? Because in most of the office building, they don't allow the people unless you have a green certificate, like the PC COVID or blue zone or something like that.
It depends on what kind of vaccine you have. For example, with the vaccine, it requires two shots. So after 14 days from the first shot, you can enter the office. That's why when you return to the office, the key thing is that you need to know the status of your employee, where they are, how about the health status, how about the expectation, how about the concern. You need to know what everything. For example, in AC, we do the survey and to know the expectation from our employee, what is the concern, and we organize a talk and we address them. And we had the communication toolkits for the manager and employee to refer. So in what case, what the guidance you will follow, and if anything is unclear, you can contact HR or your head of department to get the guidance. That's why in AZ we empower to our employee to consider the situation they are in and make the right decision to protect themselves and their family and the company.
As you were telling that business continuity plan is very important.
Yes.
I heard from some office, good offices that they have divided their staff into two parts. Like one is headed by the general director and the group of people headed by the deputy general director. So two groups. One group will come in this week. The next group will come next week. So they do this kind of swapping between the groups. So if something happens, the other team can continue the business.
Yeah, the same. We apply the same, but because the thing is that every company now you need to register to have your QR code, and any employee when you come to the office you need to declare your health status every day, and they need to register. Yes, you need to register your working plan in advance.
Wow.
Yeah, and because that's the way we know how many people in the office, because we need to ensure the social distancing, and when anything happens, you know where they are and what people they interact with.
And Ms. Nguyen, I was reading one newspaper 2 days before, and I was reading that sometimes it's very challenging to bring the people, those who are working from home from last 4 to 6 months, back to the office. So they are feeling more comfortable in the house. But the company wants them to bring into the office. So how you deal with these people?
Okay, I think very, very interesting question. Very interesting question now. Yes, there are a lot of discussions.
Alok is one of those people.
I'm struggling with the same.
The International Labor Organization, they have outlined like a 10-step process on how to return to work safely. So they ask you like the step 1 to make a committee to decide who comes back first. And this is when they have to stagger the work hours or see who can work remotely, right? And then they said that, the second case, maybe divide your employees to the ones who should return first and the ones who should return later. But among other things, and then they said when you decided who will come back, and then you need to decide how they will come back, right? So who is eligible to come back? And each company have a different policy. Some organization is that if you're not vaccinated, you cannot work with us because we're international school. We're we really don't have the luxury to say, I'll let you make somebody else sick. It's okay. And so who is eligible to come back to work? And each company can have their own policy. One of the things that they mention actually in the International Labor Organization guideline is that now for companies catching COVID at work from a lack of proper hygiene, proper disinfection, or if you expose your employee to COVID, it's a liability issue. So it's eligible for workman's compensation. So you want to make sure that when you vet who's able to come back, are you putting out other people or your customers at risk? Are you putting your own employees at risk? So that's something that needs to be, I think every company needs to sit down and look at it to protect themselves, right? And to protect the employee. So once you have that, then you mentioned, like Ms. Yong said, you know, like some group can come back first, and you know, and then how do you, once you bring the people back, how do you prepare your office, right? Is the office like properly marked 2 meters apart? Does the office have good ventilation? Does the way is a one-way only versus two-way traffic, where people meet together? Even the meeting room, you have to label and say there's no more than 6 people in this room, and you put a sign up, right? So elevators, how many people can go in at the same time? And so those are the basic steps. So you bring the people back, and then, you know, you see how things work, and then you have to review the plan, what's working, what's not working. And one of the things I think that that, you know, that I saw was like, maybe a particular company want to review their health insurance policy, because as a doctor, for what I saw was during the COVID, all of a sudden people are unpleasantly surprised to find that their insurance policy doesn't cover COVID. You're like, okay, that's the only thing, the biggest thing now, like that's killing people, making people sick, and you don't cover COVID testing, you don't cover vaccine, you don't cover come and check to get COVID. And then some of them don't cover telemedicine. Well, guess what? During the lockdown, there was no other way for people to see doctors. You can't go out of the house. There's no taxi to take you to the hospital. The hospital were overwhelmed. And if you have insurance policy that doesn't cover Zoom consult, what's the point, right? So look at, this is a good time to review your policy. Do they cover COVID? Do they cover vaccines? Do they cover home visits by doctors? Do they cover teleconsult? To make sure that if there's another lockdown, that your policy will actually protect you.
Wow,
that's important. I'm going to review my
a lot of serious issues, you know. Cheers first of all, cheers to cool down, otherwise.
Oh, heavy, very heavy. I feel heavy. Let's have a drink. Oh, I feel so
heavy. Flexibility of employees. That's why we understand what prevent them from returning to the office, what the difficult, what the concern they are facing now, and we provide the flexibility, but with the timing, how long and how we can address it. Exchange share, we have on the policy in place. Even we have the discipline policy. If you want to return to the office, if you not follow the guidelines from the company or the government discipline, we have the disciplinary action. But we won't want to go with that.
Statistically, since the pandemic started, the documented incidence of depression, anxiety has doubled. So about, say, 20%, and the normal average is about 10.8%. And just remember, this is documented. So that means there are people who didn't come, they didn't feel comfortable saying, hey, I'm depressed, right? So this is the people who reported, who was able to access the healthcare and was diagnosed with it. What about the people who didn't have insurance? So they just stay home isolated, or they hurt themselves, or, you know, or you're the CEO of a company, you're too embarrassed to say, I'm feeling vulnerable, I don't feel well, because all the other employees are looking at you as the leader and the inspiration. So you don't have the luxury to say, I really don't feel well, right? So the percentage of mental health has increased. We know the numbers about alcohol abuse, you know, other kind of domestic violence. So I think it just goes along with the whole picture of, you know, what's happening around the world. Like during the AmCham talk, we mentioned one day about the Maslow's infrastructure of what human need to do well, right? What's on the bottom, the most fundamental part is to have food and water and clean air and toilet paper, right? So guess what? During the lockdown, a lot of those things were compromised, right? You couldn't get food or water, you know, whatever. And then the next level was, you know, that your field of security. Well, a lot of us didn't have that, right? Job security, financial security, health security. You felt like you could get sick and you don't have the vaccine. I mean, AstraZeneca was like gold, right? During that time, AstraZeneca, you know, like it was like a chance at life. So, you know, so our health was threatened. So during those times, I think it's no wonder that, you know, like if your mental health wasn't shaken up a little bit, right? Especially if the head of the household, your family is looking at you to provide. So I think that, for sure, the incidence of documented health issue went up. And you can, one example, for example, the family practice Dr. Miguel, who's a psychiatrist. During the lockdown, even though the number of office visits decreased, by Zoom consultation, his schedule was jam-packed from beginning to end, because I think that the situation, because the world has reached an unprecedented, level of insecurity for everyone, that everybody just really shaken up, right? So at this time, I think during this time, one of the things that the workplace can provide, it's some kind of safety and security. So in the sense that if you tell your employees, okay, we're opening up, so number one, your financial security, it's okay, we want you to come back to work. I think that's really comforting for a lot of people, because so many people actually lost their jobs. Right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like, okay, you can come back to work, and we're gonna make the workplace really safe for you to come back to work, because you're safe, I'm vaccinated. We're gonna make the place so if you come back, you don't have so much chance of getting sick, right? So that's comforting, because you are providing some stability, security, and also to give people some a reason to stay calm in their lives. So that's super important. And
or even after you get sick, if you get sick, we will be looking after you with this and this. I think that, and also you mentioned this, some company also, they provide like mental health screening for their employees. They have free hotlines that's anonymous. Like if you don't feel well, like recently one of the presentation we did, we asked everybody in the company, if you thought you're so depressed and stressed that you want to take your life or hurt yourself, or you know a colleague or a friend who does, would you know where to call, who to call? Would you know what to do? So that's something that we can ask our employees, right? Because it could happen. And maybe if you know what the right thing to do, you could save someone's life, maybe your own, right? So that's something that I think that the company should begin to think about. It's not only about a person's well-being, but when they are healthy mentally, they're also more productive, and they are, everybody wins, right?
Dr. Jin, you're right. Because some companies, the general director or the CEO was advised by the consultant to call their employees on a regular basis. Especially the manager will call to their supervisors will call to their worker level, just to check you are okay, you are getting the food or not, just to have a general kind of a talk. So this gives
that's a great idea.
Yes. At AstraZeneca, we had the monthly coffee chat. We asked the employee what the topic they want to speak to us. Yes, and it's not from the company side, but from our employee side as well. Because in AstraZeneca we promote the power of diversity, so a lot of initiative from our employee, from different department, because different department they have different needs. They do the survey, and beyond that they run out a lot of interesting sessions. Even they run the stress management by themselves, Because in AstraZeneca we offer the e-learning platform degree, so they can study anything from there, and they can share tips to help our people to manage stress. For example, from
AstraZeneca. Let's manage the stress here before you talk more. Let's manage the stress.
I feel stressful. Very stressful. And the alcohol can help.
Dr. Jin, there is a question here, little bit offbeat. Like we were in the lockdown for a long time, and so we are waiting for outside to open. And now some of the malls are open, some restaurants are open. So, and is it advisable to go there, or we should not go there?
I think it depends on how protected you are. If you're double vaccinated, you're wearing a mask, and you make sure you keep your distance, I think it's okay. I mean, sooner or later, you're going to have to rejoin life, right? Because we know that as human beings, as much as we plan ourselves for remote work or backup plan when there's a lockdown, we are social beings, and they're like, people still matter. We need socialization. So how to do it safely? it's the key, I think.
I saw that because I was thinking to visit some malls, but I was hesitant. So
same next to KP question that I have. When we visit any restaurant or mall, they say to show off your green pass, and then they say to use your hand to sanitize your hand. Suppose I am entering to a restaurant and I do sanitation on my hand. Is it advisable to eat by hand? Being an Indian, I eat by hand, or use the chopstick or spoons.
Very
What are the
practical
use of
question.
sanitizer on food?
That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that, like, in general, actually, I think this is partly related to the other question, right? That how often you should wash your hands. So in general, I think in general, what the WHO they recommend that you wash your hands every time you touch a high touch surface. Yeah. So if it, like a door handle, for example, like everybody touch, right? Then after you touch that, then you should clean your hands. Like, or they said if you tables, the gas station, the oil pump, shopping carts, electronic device like a coffee maker or something, that you should just put the hand sanitizer nearby. And even better to have the one that you don't have to touch. You just put pressure and then it squirts out, right? So that way you avoid any kind of touching. But no, you shouldn't be washing it all the time until your skin becomes so raw and you begin to have a dermatitis. So you should do it. Yeah.
The question, I mean, I've seen some articles, medical articles that basically says the chance of you catching a COVID virus from touching a surface is 1 in 10,000. So are we going a little bit overboard with this hand sanitizer?
Do you want to risk it?
I'm just wondering. I think the whiskey is the answer. That's the best sanitizer. In and out. I mean, does AstraZeneca do any research on which whiskey kills more virus versus the other?
Oh, maybe James know better. Dr. Jen will know better.
I don't know which alcohol, but I know that they said that for the hand sanitizer to be qualified to kill COVID, it has to be at least 60% alcohol. So I don't know, does vodka have how many percent alcohol? Vodka is only 10%.
To 40%, but does that mean if I drink double shot, it would be 80%?
That's your mathematic problem.
During this time when there's a lot of pressure on healthcare professionals such as yourself, what do you do when you don't feel well?
The things that make me feel insecure, like our job insecurity, or the way how do we continue on the life path that we started, because right now we're kind of just put in limbo. All of a sudden your job, your travel, your retirement plan, everything is on hold, right? So that part stresses me out. But then I realized sometimes all you can do, and you should think about this, is do what's in front of you, because there are lots of things in our world are out of our control. You can worry about them or you don't. If you worry about them, it's not going to solve them any sooner. So at times like this, it's really important to embrace what's in front of you. Just like, I can only do what I can do right now, and focus on one day at a time and a small task. So that helps me. Yeah, but remember, forget about counting how many cases of COVID, right? It's there. The only thing you can do is that you have the protective antibody. So when you face to face with the virus, you're protected. There's no avoiding it. So when you go on the travel, when you go out into the supermarket, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there. And the only thing you can do is that the protective antibody in your body will help you to fight it off, so you don't get sick.
We all tell about this one to our staff, but some of the staff today, they are really worried about what's happening in China. There is again surge and some cities are locked down. So some of the employees are again worried about that, even though they have a double vaccination.
This is the new norm, right? It's going to be one step forward, 2 steps back. There's going to be variants, and they will have to come up with another vaccine. That's just, I think the world, that's going to be that way. I think it depends on your individual, because they say, for example, if your age is older, the level of your protective antibody fast sooner. right? So if you're really concerned, let's say if you have diabetes or you have some chronic disease, then maybe you can check your antibody level to see where you're at. Because I know some people are saying that the protective range is 150. So if you fall below 150, maybe it's time to have a booster. And I know, again, this recommendation is being updated all the time. And so in terms of the antibody level, so for example, when you go to Singapore, you can show them the green pass, right? But you know what? If there's one real one, the fake one is coming up soon, because everybody needs. If you want to continue to work, you need to have the green pass. So guess what? It's not hard to make a green pass with any app and our technology these days. So in Singapore, when you enter, they make you do the antibody level to say, great, amazing that you had like 10 doses of Moderna, but what's your antibody level like, right? So if you have the antibody level, then you know that if somebody comes to me, it's like, okay, if your antibody level is 40, okay, maybe think about asking a friend or get a vaccine somewhere and get a booster, because then then your protection is more robust. So I don't know how officially it's done, but but like people seem to have access to vaccines on their own.
I know what it is. I saw Nyung on the street the other day selling stuff, just saying, hey, I got some good stuff here. Booster shots.
Yeah, one of the things is how can we get an what do you say?
Antibody test. It's a blood test.
Is it easy to get that test?
It's easy. A lot of hospital clinics does it. Like, it's not expensive either. It's about $20-$25 or less to get antibody level.
And that number is only what? For how many, what's the time limit? It is, I do it today.
That's a great question, Jessica, because the level, the speed at which our antibody level drops is different for everyone. Because you know why? Because some people, let's say I have normal immunity, right? So I get a vaccine. My normal immunity will make X number of antibodies because it's normal. But if you give to someone who has immunity doesn't work so well because they're on a chemotherapy, or they're older, or they have some underlying disease, then their immune response is not normal. So you give them the vaccine, but they don't make as much antibodies, right? So those folks, they have to be especially careful to make sure that they're responding. And one of the things I need to say is that the antibody measurement is only one way to measure the protective effects of the vaccine. There are other kind of immunity that the scientists are studying that also protects us, but they have no way to quantify the other way that the immunity is working, the humoral immunity. So right now, the only thing we can quantify is some kind of antibody. But usually, I think the party line is within the 6 months, you should be okay. So come closer to the 6 month time, that's when you start thinking, okay, maybe it's time to think about it. You know how they do the yearly checkup with family practice and the Care One? They've included that in their annual check. They added that extra item. Because you know what, some people, they receive fake vaccines too. You see on newspaper, people, they're selling it, they're getting money from people, who knows what they're getting, right? So it's good to see in black and white that you got those antibodies. Data that show the mix and match, like for example, the first dose AstraZeneca, right? In Vietnam, they ran out, or they didn't have enough supply at the time. Like 6 to 8 weeks, you're supposed to get a second shot, for example, or 12 weeks. But if we don't have the supply, but they have Pfizer or Moderna, they just give a second dose as that. And in fact, the antibody level is quite high, after that. So they said there's some, they said that actually you have the best protection if you get 2 shots of any vaccine and then you catch the COVID and you recover. Then you have like super high levels of antibody. Yeah. So, but I guess, it's not ideal to catch it, but if you did and you survive, you're in a really good place.
So I think from today's talk, one of the things that was eye-opening is that sooner or later we'll all come across COVID virus, one way or another. That is a very important, I think, sort of a, should we say, paradigm shift in terms of policy. It's not just avoiding it, but what do you do when
One last question. If you got COVID, and how do you make sure that you won't spread it
Jessica, just drink a lot of whiskey, and you'll be too drunk to go anywhere. Anyway.
No, Jessica,
I want to know from Dr. Jen, how long or how can we make sure it is safe again?
So I think that even now, things are opening up. There's still cases of COVID around, right? So if you have any respiratory symptoms, you should get it tested. Because even if you're double vaccinated, if you have it, you want to know that you have it, right? So you know what to watch out for, or maybe your work will want to know. Maybe you don't want to go to work or be next to a pregnant person or whatever. So if you have any respiratory symptoms, and you will want to have it checked. And I know the government said that, correct me if I'm wrong, that they have specific timeline for how many times the employee needs to be checked. I think it was like antigen once a week or something like that.
Yeah.
For different organizations, factories versus office, they have different specific guidelines and on how often the employee needs to be checked.
Like if I'm exposed to the virus today, is it immediately positive, or is it take a few days to show it's positive?
But remember, you can have this. You can have a negative antigen and have a positive PCR. Right? So the antigen, they measure a specific viral antigen. The PCR, they replicate it many times to see even if you have a hint of the viral DNA. So if you have any doubts, you should do both, because one of them might catch it a little bit earlier than the other. But you know what? That's like if you really, really think you have it. If you want to just mass screen on a mass level, there's no way. It's too expensive to do antigen and PCR on everyone. So it really depends on what you use it for.
But because what is basically saying, if I show positive test, say today, and it probably means I got it 2-3 days ago. Yeah. I mean, from 2-3 days until now, have I been spreading it around?
Yeah, probably. Yes. But if everybody around you are vaccinated, then they're okay.
But then what do we do with who already got the COVID and now it's already recovered? Do we let them come back into the office, and how much?
We throw them out the window.
If you recovered, if you recover. So if you have a negative PCR, you can go back to the office.
And really has no danger at all?
Within 6 months. So
well, you're not contagious anymore. At the PCR level, after a certain amount, you have to amplify your blood so many times to be contagious to other person. So they let you. So for example, if you have a CT of 37, for example, a number of cycles to replicate virus, the hospital will release you to go home, like in Vietnam. Or like if you're pregnant and you have COVID, but your CT level is so high that you're not contagious, they will let you go to the hospital and deliver, right? If your CT level is still low, meaning you only need a few cycles to replicate, you're still quite contagious, then you have to go to a designated F0 delivery hospital, right? So it depends on what you use it for. If you want to know if you have COVID or not, is one thing. If you want to know if you have COVID, but are you contagious or not, it's another test. So my colleague who works in the ICU treating COVID patients says that a lot of their staff got COVID vaccine, but they still got COVID, but they don't know. They have no symptoms at all, which is what vaccine does, right? So that we catch it, but we don't get sick. So what do they do with these staff? They put them to work in the ICU with COVID patients because they're sick, but they're not sick, right? And then rather than stay home for 2 weeks and not get paid,
they're sick but not
they
sick.
can be exposed to the F0. They don't get sick. So and then the other staff who don't have COVID don't get exposed. So it's kind of under the circumstances, it's kind of like a good solution here, right? So.
Wow, interesting.
Well, so I think it's important to note that you're saying that we will get COVID sooner or later.
Yes.
It's a matter of having contingencies and protocols, processes to manage or mitigate your business requirements. In addition to obviously meeting a compliance matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think time is up. So let's have the last, cheers and you know, congratulations. We Vietnam go back to normal in next week, and hopefully everybody stays safe. And thank you very much for Nhuoms and Dr. Jen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank
you for having us.
Yes.